It does take a little more preparation than just hopping in the sedan for a ride in the country. But when Jim Hollis and Bob Wilkerson decide to take a spin, as often as not, it's in a 2-horsepower wood-spoked wagon. This is more than just a hobby. Wilkerson raises horses and mules to sell, and Jim Hollis, well, wagons and mules, horses in the outdoors are almost an obsession. This trip is just around the pasture, an afternoon's recreation. But later this year, Hollis plans to lead a wagon train, as many as 15 wagons like this one, from Hinton, Oklahoma to Alaska. And no one has ever done that before.
There's been several wagon trains, but this one here is going to cover about a 4,600 mile stretch, and it's going to take approximately 5 months to do it.
A week or so ago, Hollis ran an ad in the paper looking for others who wanted to make the trip. He says his phone rang off the wall. There's still a lot of planning to do. He's hoping to get some sponsors for the trip. But come what may, on April 1st, he pushes off for the far north. 5,000 miles, 5 months, plus a century of adventure. Carol Young and Julie Westland have forsaken dorm rooms, or any other rooms for that matter. At the beginning of this semester, the 2 OSU students moved their books, blankets, and lifestyle into a 9x12 tent. Warmth comes from a small catalytic heater and multiple sets of long johns. A nearby neighbor who lives under a roof loans bathroom facilities. The girls say the move to the great outdoors wasn't done as any kind of an experiment. They did it just because it seemed like fun. But they admit their sense of fun has been tested during the recent cold weather. Cooking, when the cold doesn't drive them into hamburger stands, is in the open. And right now they admit that the evening meal, cooked and eaten in sub-freezing temperatures, isn't something they really look forward to. The fare is pretty simple. Spaghetti and pork and beans are a staple. Their most frequent dinner guest is Shelby, a Siberian companionship and some security for the price of a few leftovers. Both of the girls were occasional campers in the past, but no outing had ever approached the 4 months outdoors they are committed to now. The girls expect that the next month or so will really be. There is one good thing about their present way of life. Their grades are holding up pretty well. That may be because they get a lot more sleep than they used to. When the choice is a sleeping bag or staying up late when the temperature is 20 above, the sleeping bag wins every time. Turn it on again.
Everyone put your heels on that white line. Heels on the white line. There we go. Now you can go. Stop. Now watch your head move. There you go. Stop. Arms by your ears. By your ears. Strong. Arms in. Touch your food. Strong. Down. In. There you go. Strong. Up. In. Turn. Down. On. Up. Like it. Up. On. Down. Down.
Williams, the National Cheerleaders Association, of America. She was chosen from a field of 1,500 cheerleaders from across the country. For her,
ever since I was like 5, I'd go to games and see all these like cheerleaders and pom-pom girls and you know, drill teams and all this kind of stuff. And so I've always would, you know, say someday I'm going to be there and I'm going to be a pom-pom girl.
the Pom Squad was created 7 years ago to help pick up the spirits of the OU basketball program. Now the girls appear at almost all other varsity sports events. OU may have several reasons to shout. Rule number 1. The latest, a sunny daughter, the rest of the Pom Squad. The music is as familiar as his own mind. It should be. The melody is called This Love I Feel. He wrote it. Steve Downing of Pryor, Oklahoma is one of the state's youngest composers and one of the most successful. This Love I Feel was the first melody he ever wrote, but in the past year he's written dozens and is working at it every day.
When I was about 6 years old, we used to have this piano in our house, and nobody ever wanted to play it, except me. So I asked my dad one night to teach me how to play the piano, so he started me out on the basics, the first few books of what you're supposed to learn, and I just kind of took it from there.
He composes on the piano, but he plays over 40 musical instruments. Despite that, he believes that the challenge in the music business is behind the scenes as a writer, not a performer.
When you're writing a piece, you don't know exactly what to expect, what's going to come next. Whereas when you're just playing a song, you got the notes right in front of you.
Writing music is painstaking. Each note that the listener hears, every beat, has to be marked on paper until the pages become melody. Steve isn't naive about the chances of making it in music. He knows that thousands of songs are written every year that are never heard by anyone but the composer. But he says he has 1,000 songs, all of them just ready to be heard. All he has to do is write them. And at 15 and a half years old, he's got a head start and plenty of time. Robert Carr isn't killing time. He's pursuing his profession. He's an inventor. Several years ago, he came up with a new design for a paper airplane. Now he's transferred the aerodynamics from folded paper to blueprint to scale model. Carr's plane is unique in that it has no conventional wings. The lift is supplied by forcing air through internal wings. Carr says that a full-size version of his plane could fly at speeds 7 times the speed of sound. At least one manufacturer is looking at his design. The scale model that he built was designed to fly, but so far, that hasn't worked out.
Okay, this model doesn't fly, but it does produce a tremendous amount of lift. It didn't fly because it has a balance problem, and that most of the lift is created in the aft of the airplane and most of the weight's in the front, and there's too much of a difference between them for me to be able to counterweight it so that it would fly and be controlled. It does real nice somersaults and crashes real well.
Carr has written a book about how to take an invention from idea to money in the bank. And just because the scale model hasn't really flown, that hasn't discouraged him at all. Not every idea flies the first time, or the second, or even the third.
Whoop. Bad one. Oh well.
Part of being an inventor is staying with an idea until it's off the ground. And Robert Carr is reaching for the sky.
I started in 1925. I was going to school with some Greeks. My name was Gus Giggles and John Krupus. Had a shining parlor. So they let me work down there and go to school. Evenings after school, I'd go down there and work for them. That's the way I started, shining shoes.
There are places across the country where you can find some small islands in time. Edward Roberts' Shoeshine stand in the barber shop at the Aldrich Hotel in McAlester, Oklahoma is one of those. Roberts is 71 years old, and what he gives his customers today is a shining reflection of some of the values from yesteryear.
Thank you, sir. You don't want to shine a man's shoe just one time. You want him to come back. If you do good work, you get good results. And when you work for yourself, you do your best, you know how. Everybody today is after the quick dollar. And to do this and do it right, it takes time, patience, and someone that's interested in what they're doing. You have to like what you're doing to put in it what it should be put in it. So many people look down on shoeshine, and that's what you call a downward job. But I was taught, whatever you do it well and be as good or the best.
The price for a shoeshine today are a lot higher than when Roberts began. But he says his customers don't mind. People bring boots to him for polishing from as far away as Dallas, Texas. Customers say that they can see their face reflected in the boot that Roberts shines. You can also see a little of the past.
My first name is Deborah, my last name is Williams, and my middle name is Elois, so I use DWe. And that's the name that you may call me, DWe.
Unusual name, unusual lady. DWe Williams is an artist in residence at Putnam City Schools, and sometimes she puts a new face on education.
It's gonna get on your clothes, okay? So you don't want to put it down too far.
DWe teaches creative drama, beginning with basics like makeup, but ends up by teaching reality through a world of pretend. To understand DWe, you have to understand a few of her friends, like these in the back of the classroom: Rodney, Jessica, and Ronald.
We all have to suspend a realistic adult belief, and from then we can play as well as the kids can.
DWe Williams is realistic about a world of make-believe. Her apartment is full of old friends, dozens and dozens of dolls, big and little, brown, white, pink, happy and sad, all made with cloth, stitches, stuffing, and love, and every one made by DWe Williams' hands. It would be very easy to think of this lady as just a craftsperson, and the ability to create many personalities out of the hand and out of the mind is quite a talent in itself. But while DWe is a doll maker, and a very good one, she's quite a bit more than that. She's a remarkable teacher.
We've got a new little person today. His name is Rodney Alexander. And he's a little bit shy, because he's a pretty new baby. Rodney's a boy, and Jessica's a girl. Well, you guys know that. But are there going to be any different things I'm going to need to know about raising Rodney as compared to raising Jessica?
He'll probably want to play with more boys than, like, Jessica will probably have all these girlfriends over, and Rodney will want some boyfriends, not girlfriends.
Not girlfriend. Am I going to have to feed a boy different food from the food I feed a girl?
No.
As an artist in residence, she teaches elementary students in the Putnam City system. The children accept the fantasy that the dolls are real and use the fantasy to work out real problems.
I've got one more friend I want to introduce you to. He's a Palmer baby, and his name is Ronald Palmer. And Ronald, it's almost time for him to go into the 3rd grade, and he still sucks his thumb. So I thought maybe since you guys are already in the 4th grade, have you some advice for Ronald to maybe convince him that he shouldn't be sucking his thumb?
My parents and my dentist say that you shouldn't suck your thumb because you might get buck teeth.
I can testify that Ronald will eventually stop sucking his thumb, and Jessica and Rodney will be some of the best cared for and best loved dolls in the world. And that's not just fantasy. It's part of DWe Williams' very real world.
Well, you know, you have, everybody's got a negative side to the job. You know, we've got the side where we're dealing with the nasty, and it's a job.
By the time the sun is up, Henry McCullough, Rockette Higgins, and Rudolph Preston are halfway through their workday. They work at a job that most people don't want. They work at it hard. By the time they finish their route, they've picked up over 30 tons of everything Oklahoma City doesn't want. Every pound.
I'm pretty well used to it now. You know, it's kind of athletic, and just like any other athletic event, you after a while your muscles get kind of toned to it, and then maybe we catch a holiday where we got a double day, and I'm sore regardless.
Higgins and Preston are one of 26 sanitation department crews that work the streets of Oklahoma City every day. There are almost 1,000 homes on their route. Most of their customers never see them. Look out your window tomorrow morning over your second cup of coffee. Wonder where we'd be without them.
going to make our curve this way, and then we curve back this way.
This is Miss Hammond's class at Eastside Elementary School in Midwest City. Her students are third graders. This is one of them, William Boyd, a pretty good student. William also goes to another school where he's better than pretty good.
Did everyone see that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, how many Z's in a row?
8.
Let's get your on guard.
Very good.
This is the SRK karate. William Boyd, Boyd barely tops 3 feet, but in less than 2 years, he's become a giant. He's ranked as a green belt. That's halfway to the top of his sport. He has another rank.
Mr. T, demonstrate gate side knee, open hand, please, sir. Good sunshine breathing.
He won that title a few weeks ago, competing against others his size and age. Now, after 2 years of learning, he also teaches. This style of karate is Goju-ryu, an import from Okinawa. The people here say that's more than just a way to fight. It's a way to live.
Close it out. Very good. Okay, very good salute. Step back in line, please. About this way. Thank you. Very good. All right, brown belt, X-side yo.
There's a saying in karate, size is just a number. If it weren't so, William Boyd would truly be living in a world of giants. As it is, he's learning as an equal.
Get up, is that right on?
His instructors say he's a natural. He originally got into karate as a way to protect himself. Now, it's become much more.
Pleasing you sure ain't easy, but still I try. Giving you all my very best don't satisfy. Sometimes I wonder just what I'm gonna do. One day you say you need me, the next day you say we're through. So I ask the question why intermittent just when I think